All right, folks, good morning and welcome finally to House Edge Live. I'm sorry I'm late today, but we had an issue with the puppies this morning. Got out walking the dogs, or letting them run in the park out there. One dog did its business. The other dog decided to roll around and get up in that business. So we had to we had to do a shower on the dog today. So my wife and me and the dog just got out of the shower together. It was as you can imagine, a hellacious situation with a 2-year-old pit bull. Anyway, we only cost us 5 minutes today, so good morning. Hey, Dice Data's here. How you doing, pal? Good. You actually might like the show today a little bit. Got some good stuff going on here. So, all right, let's jump into it. And like I say, every day, there's no guaranteed win, right? So we got to start the show by saying this is for fun and entertainment only. But that said, I think it's important for us to remember all these things, right? When you watch my show, when you watch Dice Data show, when you watch George, when you watch Joe, when you watch Mac, anybody, you're going to see strategies, you're going to see things that's going to look like it's really cool and fun, right? Remember, everything is dictated by your personal bankroll, right? What can your bankroll accomplish? What is it capable of doing, right? What is your approach to risk, right? Do you enjoy risk? Do you hate risk, right? That's going to dictate which strategy you play and how much bankroll you may need, right? Identifying the opportunity to leave or to stay or to play harder, right? Having discipline to walk when you're up, understanding how much goals drive everything, and of course, keeping yourself under control. All right, here we go. Look at the pie chart up there, by the way. So this pie chart is not my recommendation. This pie chart is me, okay? My pie chart, in my world, bankroll is not very important, right? I don't need a huge bankroll because I don't ladder, right? I can play from where I live usually pretty cautiously. So my bankroll is not that important. I don't love or hate risk. It doesn't really play a factor in what I do. That's why it's at 4%, right? I have an extreme amount of discipline though in money management. And I do pay attention to strategy. So for me, the pie chart looks different than it probably does for you. And I think it's important to understand that everybody approaches that stuff differently. Having that pie chart fulfilled, like if there's a gap in the chart, like you ever read the book, The Five Love Languages, if one of your buckets in there is empty, you're gonna have a bad time, right? And that's just the way that it works at the casino. You'll have a bad time if you're not having a good time. And I think those things will really help us sort of, I don't know, manage having a great time at the casino and also having a better chance to kind of come out ahead, or at least not come out as behind as you maybe could, if that makes sense to you. All right. Quick look at the schedule ahead of us here. My camera's really kind of weird. Why is my camera so weird today? It should be over here. There we go. The upcoming schedule, we have, of course, Craps for the Cure coming up about 3 weeks or so from now on my birthday weekend in Vegas. After that, Big AZ. After that is Casino Tiers. They do have, I think, one slot open for Sunday the 4th. They are Biloxi. Only the last day is open, I think. Let's see. I think it's the 18th or whatever. So yeah, I'll double check with Ed on that day. I think I have the dates properly labeled on there. So, all right. Next up for us is Craps for the Cure, and I think we are here today. We're at $2,600 raised out of the 50 that we need. And again, if you head to the site crapsforthecure.com, across the top, you'll see ways that you can attend the event. Just buy a ticket and come on out to the event. You can purchase needs for the dogs, like buy their dog food, buy their shit bags, buy all the stuff that they need one by one. You can donate $63 and get them a toy or whatever it is they have, right? They've listed every single item that the dogs need to go through training, including training costs. So go buy something for the dogs if you could. If you just want to sponsor or purchase something, a bigger item, we have that available too, as well as now we have some merch up there, hats and cups and whiskey glasses and everything else. So head over to the website. If you can come. I'd love to have you out there. If not, get involved by helping out the dogs ahead of time. It'd be awesome, right? Okay, so we got it off the screen. That was from yesterday's thing. All right, so for about a month, I did a Dice Data thing actually in real time, and you guys watched me do it. We did the 1-win challenge. We said to ourselves, and this is coming from Ken at Ken Knows Gambling. He gave this sort of challenge out, and he said, look, pick he called it your fantastic 5, your fab 5, right? Your 5 best strategies that you think you can win with. And here was the rub to it, right? Because I'd made this comment, and maybe actually, Dice Data, you're here, you might be able to answer the question. I assert that probably 90% of people at some point in time are up in their sessions. Most people at some point are up, even if it's $1 or $10 or whatever it is, you're up at some point during your run. Okay. But I bet you of the 90% of the folks that get up sometime, I'll bet you 100% of them or 90% of them leave down, right? There's that delta in there of people who actually win money, right? Most of us are up. Almost none of us stay up. We give it back in some form and rarely leave ahead. That's just the way that it is. And I'm looking at slots. I'm looking at all the games put together. All the games in the casino together. Most people are up. Most people leave down. And that's just because of this. It's not because of the dice. And not, sometimes it is. Sometimes you lose your first bet and never come back, right? But I made that assertion. Like, I think 90% of the people get up. And I think 9% of those people leave down. And it just struck me as a thing. Like, could you just, what happened if you just walked away when you were up? What would happen? So Ken has been doing it. Ken did it. He said, why don't we just do a challenge? Just put your 5 best strategies together, play them back to back to back to back to back, and see, which ones of them work the best. And can you do it? Do you have the discipline to stop playing when you're up a unit, right? I found a couple things out, right? One is the questions we asked. Do you have discipline? Obviously, yes, I do. You all, if you play with me, I have extreme discipline. Now here in the studio, it's very easy to come down here to the table. And again, I know it's the wrong view, and go, oh, look, I've got some green chips here and I won one. I'm going to stop playing and just, count the profit and walk away, right? That's easy for old Johnny to do, sitting here at the studio, right? It's an order of magnitude harder to do that at the casino, to actually stop playing and walk away. That's really, really, really hard to do, right? But I'm one of the few people I know that can do that, right? Do you understand rhythm and variance? And I think for the math people, and Odds Workins here also, right? That's an important discussion and might be an internal battle, right? Because for the math people, there is rhythm to a table. Whether you believe it or not, there is a rhythm to it. Sometimes it's just going bad. Now, it doesn't mean that going bad as a predictor that's going to keep bad, but there's a rhythm to it, right? And being able to pull back and lean in as that changes is an important little skill that we have, right? Variance, for those of you who believe in, in rhythm as the only way to go, variance is also a real thing, right? And I think when we live in a world where nothing is ever as predicted, right? Some people think they can predict that and you can't, right? We found ourselves in lots of cool variance here. We had strings of come out winners. We had horrible luck on certain numbers, right? We were outside the expected zone and we thought we could change that. You can't change that as a gambler. It just is what it is, right? You're never going to be a perfect 36. You're never going to know where it's going to be imperfect, right? You got to deal with it as it comes, right? Sounds like it's the same thing, but rhythm and variance are, one's mathematical, one is not, okay? But they're both true at the same time, okay? Do you practice money management, right? We learned, and hopefully I showed you in my rack, and the way that I, separate my chips with the little lammers and do all the things that I do to make my rack easy to manage, right? The reason why I do that like a maniac is because I want to see visually where I am at any one time. I know like that, where my rack, I look down at my rack, I can see I'm exactly even in the rack. I know that what's on the felt is profit. I can walk at that point in time. That's when I can exercise discipline. I know where I am in the rack. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk tomorrow about money management on a deeper level. We're going to talk about what does the rack say, meaning your session bankroll. What does your session bankroll say about your bet sizing and what strategy you should employ? Because that's an important piece people forget about. But you start learning that when you see 5 strategies every single day for a month, like we did. We didn't get to 100,000 sessions like Dice Data would do, right? But we saw, I don't know, probably 200 shooters over the course of a month, maybe more than that. I don't know. It was a lot. Seeing it in real time is important, right? Will you, next question, stress test your own strategies like I did? I played 5 of them. I actually played 3 of them the whole time. 2 of them I swapped out because we learned right away they weren't going to work for this kind of a thing. Will you do that? Will you go to Crapsy and play your strategy exactly as you would at the casino, at the exact levels you do every day with Brian and George and Joe and whoever else is doing it? Will you play the same way every single day and not vary from it, and watch what your strategy does in all the situations. Will you stress test it, or will you just say, oh, I won, it's a great strategy? Do you know if your strategy can recover? Do you know what it looks like? When it goes down, we saw the skill 66, right? Every time it went down, it never came back. It never came back. It's not capable of coming back unless you catch a monster, right? That's a learning moment for most of us. It should be a learning moment for most of you, right? You cannot play these high stress strategies and expect to ever make any kind of consistent money with it. You're going to hit a home run every so often. You're not going to win on the regular. You're going to lose more on the regular. That's why I talk about all the time the bridge concept. You can be a bad gambler, right? What I want you to do is be the best gambler you can be, which is like lose the house edge or thereabouts. Don't lose more than that because you're making dumb choices. Okay. Hopefully during that month of doing that, you found your way, where you learned a little bit about what the way might actually look like for you. So that's an important thing, right? And I think this is bullshit. I think you're way oversimplifying it. Okay. Because again, if you don't have to be an AP to care about this, right? Part of the bridge is bankroll. I'll give you one word of it, bankroll. If you have $500 and you go to a craps table and you're trying to run a Wayland strategy where you're laddering up after a loss, you can't do that. You don't have enough money to make that happen, right? If you don't understand the concepts of the bridge, right, you're going to fail. Even if you go out that way, not recommended to go with a tiny bankroll and try a big ladder. If you go out that way and you win your first couple of bets, the bridge says, get the hell out of there. Leave while you're up, understand money management, and leave. What most people do is they try and keep fighting through it and they lose it all. That's what the bridge talks about. It talks about not making poor decisions. It's not about a way to win, odds working. The bridge is about helping you make better decisions so that you don't lose more than you ought to. That's what it's all about. It's not about winning. It's about losing what you're supposed to. And if you catch a good run, if you get into a nice little variant, then you can take off with it, right? That's the idea behind the bridge. It's not about this secret sauce of winning, right? It's about staying within yourself and not doing stupid shit. I've seen too many people lose too much money. I've talked to David at Casino Quest so often, and boy, that guy, I'm telling you what, you want to talk about stories? That guy's got stories of gamblers who have lost everything, more than you probably care to hear, because they make poor decisions and they don't have the ability to leave. As aggressive as he is with the triple Lux, right? He knows, he understands all those principles and is willing to walk away. You got to be careful about that stuff. And it's important that we all teach that. I think everybody here has to teach those same concepts. Otherwise, people watching these channels, especially the guys who watch Bluff and Vegas Matt and all these idiots that are out there burning all that YouTube money like a match, right? People look at that and feel like that's real. It's not real. It's completely fabricated bullshit. It's not real. Not real life, I should say. That's why the bridge is important. That's why it's important. Hey, Waylon, how you doing, man? Good to see you here, pal. All right, that's what I learned. I learned that these are the questions we have to keep asking ourselves, right? Do you have the money to ladder? Do you have the bankroll to last the 10 shooters if you're going to play that way? Do you have the balls to walk? Do you have a strategy that works with everything? That's so important, right? And I think we got to see a lot of that last week. All right. For me, my Fab 5, I've only got a Fab 3 right now. These 3 did great. The Horseman never lost. The Past Line Progression never lost. Newberry Stepladder never lost. Those 3 strategies were undefeated during the month. They all did great. Every single one of them. Matter of fact, I even converted from regular to laddering on those to show you what a ladder looks like. And actually the difference of it, right? 5 times 125 for the Horseman straight up, right? Versus laddering it, only 3 bullets cost you $1,400. You got to know that. You want to ladder a Horseman, you better have 4 times the bankroll that you would for a regular one, because it's what it takes to get through it. But we saw it work. We saw the Past Line Progressions work. We saw Newberry's ladder work. Funny thing, right? And odds working should be super happy, right? About hearing this. All of these strategies that won consistently have something in common. They all won consistently. They have something in common, good and bad. Number 1, super low house edge plays. They're all line bets or combinations of line bets. They're all the lowest house edge we can get to, odds notwithstanding, right? They're boring. They're simple, right? And they win or lose here. None of these things are going to be massive wins. None of these things will be massive losses. There's no opportunity to win big when you're playing this kind of way. When you're playing a little pass progression or even a pass line with odds, and that's all you're playing. There's no hitting hammering a big table, right? A 56 roller, 60 roller, you're playing one bet at a time. You're not gonna hammer it, right? The horseman's not gonna hammer that, right? The step ladder's not gonna hammer that, but they're gonna win relatively consistency. You'll be up at some point during these plays. We found that every one of these things was up at some point during the play. Get out of there. We did learn that. We also learned that the ways I like to play, my hammer plays, the ways when I feel like I got, I'm selling wolf tickets and I want to start getting aggressive, my Philly special, the tier pressure, all the ways I love going after a table, not one of those things can earn you a paycheck. Not one of them. Every single one of those things has got no protection, number one. They're all high house edge bets. They're all a ton of bets out there with a little tiny money as you go. They're all designed to put your pedal down on a quote unquote hot table. Not one of them will earn you a steady profit. Not one of them. They all require something special to happen. Every one of these things is fun. They're cool. They're exciting. They're high five generators, but every one of them is going to get its ass handed to it in a fight every single time, unless you catch the guy that goes off for 25 plus rolls. That's what they're designed for, right? These are great ways to play after you've done one of these. You build some bankroll up, you make a little bit of juice in your rack, and you want to go for it when you have the dice, whatever, great. Now you can do one of these. Or you can play one of these, pass line progression, win your 10 units, regress down, go 160 across and play some pineapple press. That's totally fine, right? Coming out of the gate with these things, you will get destroyed over time. We saw that in the first 2 weeks. Every one of these right side plays got hammered. Matter of fact, we went down $1,500 betting $60 at a time on these things, because once they go down, they do not recover. Just the way that it works, right? These lower edge plays, these boring, simple. Look at Ken and Waylon's retirement plan. Boring, simple, whatever. You're getting one hit and stop. That fucking thing wins. It's gonna be 100 no soon, right? Because it's boring and it's simple, and it's not trying to do anything other than what it was meant to do. I think that's a big piece of this whole thing, is understanding what these strategies are really meant to do. And I think people forget about that, right? Like when you marry up your bankroll and your strategy in your mind and all that stuff, right? Every strategy to me has a purpose. Look back at some of these things, right? The horseman is designed to survive those short, shitty rolls. It's designed for that. If a roll happens to go long, it'll be okay, but it's not designed for that. It's designed to lean in later on to a long roll. The pass line progression is just survival until the dice come to you, and it works. The step ladder is great for almost every table because you're going to eventually catch the run on the dark side, and you're betting small little ladders, right? These are meant for profit building. These are meant for felting a table. They're not meant to make profit. They're just not meant to make profit. Know that going in. I think that's of all the things, that's the stuff that I learned during this, right? And again, did I inherently know all that? Of course I did, right? Is showing it to you on this little table on my desk every day for a month proof of what we all already knew? Absolutely. And it gives me things to talk about, right? Which is why it was even good. The red cross fits in the middle somewhere. Like the red cross to me, the problem with the red cross, I love the red cross, but unless you've got massive bankroll, you can't really play it, right? It requires, and again, I'll show it to you here if you want to see it again. I love that strategy as a right side play. The problem with it is that it requires too much bankroll. Even at the green chip level, it requires way too much, because the pass line ladder, or the pass don't pass ladder, can eat your lunch if you're not careful with it. So, as a matter of fact, let me get on and show it to you. I'm gonna go here, and I know this is gonna be the wrong bottom of the screen, but if we look at the red cross, and we should look at both. I wanted to talk about the other strategy today too, but the red cross basically is this, right? It's going to be at the green level, at the greeny tiny level, right? It's 85 up top, right? It's 20 or 15 in the field, and it's 20 on one of the lines. If it's either the pass or don't pass, or wherever you decide to start. So you're at $120 every time you go out. For every shooter, you're at least 100 for the shooter. It's always 100, right? If you're going to play it 10 times, you need $1,000 right there, right? But you really need 120. So I say 125 is your base outlay per shooter. If you're going to play this 10 times, right, or try to get around the table once with it, you need 10 times that. You need $1,250 is your buy-in. This down here, don't forget, if you lose, it goes from the don't pass to the pass, and it gets laddered to 40, right? And if that loses on the pass line, well, now it goes to the don't pass, and it goes there for 60. Remember, you're laddering up one $20 unit every single time, right? If you lose this 5 or 6 times, you're down here for $200 aside from this. So you need to have $1,000 or $1,250 for this part here, for the base play, another $1,000 at least to do the laddering on the pass. Now, that strategy is great because when you're down here, you lose the don't, you go to the pass line, you lose the pass line, you go to the don't. Let's say you win the don't and you parlay it like you're supposed to, and it comes through. Well, guess what? Your initial bet becomes $300, right? That's the magic of the strategy, but you have to have the juice behind it to make it work, right? That's what you learn when you do stuff like this. And that strategy went down twice. Don't forget, it went down, not down hard, but it lost a couple $100 a couple times because of this. But it won one time up here was great. It won one time because the ladder just hammered it, right? We got, beat, hit it, parlayed it, and bam, you're out with profit, right? And like Waylon says all the time, you've got to make sure when you're looking at your rack, when you see profit, it's time to walk. You got to know it, right? But yeah, the horseman with a ladder and a big bankroll is tough to beat because you can come back quickly on that thing, right? The red cross, you get your 3 hits up top, bye-bye, right? Easy. If you want to keep playing it, the red cross can transition from the red cross into something else, right? That big level of money over time will destroy you. But if you get your 3-4 hits up here, you want to transition to a different play, go for it, right? It's all good. All right. I do want you to know, Waylon, since you're here in chat, you can help me out here. I was actually gonna go do a quick run of your strategy, your and Ken's strategy at the regular size person level, which would be kind of hard to play, I think. But I wonder if I do this. If I went like even 75, let me get a point here. Actually, let me just do it real quick. Tomorrow I want to show you something Skill talking about. But if I get let's get an actual point. Come on, dice, do me right here. All right, 9. And we come to DC with $75 in the DC, which I think is a small amount as you can probably play this. You might be able to do it at 50, but let's catch a DC point. Now, Ken, I know, will do this. He'll hedge that with a lay 4 or a lay 10. We'll lay the 4 because it's closer to us. And so your one roll of oh shit is right here, right? That's great. Your don't come goes to the 10. You take your lay bet down. And now we go across the rest of the numbers, okay? And again, with $75 up in here, what you're probably going to do is $10 a number, maybe 15 on the 6 and 8, or 18 on the 6 and 8. I might do them a little higher, like so. And what this comes out to is this: 10, 20, 30, $66 across, $66 across, and maybe a $10 field. $76, 75 on the don't. And now you're going to take your hit. Okay, if we catch a 7, who cares? We catch a 9, that's great. That pays, I'll pay it 15 for 1. 15, pretend we have $1. And it pays here in the field. There's $25. All this is done. We have $75 on the 10. Probably place the 10 for 50. Your choice, right? 50 wins you a quarter. Either way, and you're good, right? You lock up another quarter, no matter what happens there, another quarter in profit. You're out $50 and you're off to the races, right? That's the retirement plan, okay? It's got 2 rolls where you're scared, right? 1 roll in the don't come, you're scared. And what you're scared of is the number you laid. You're not scared of the 7, right? You're not scared of the of anything other than the 4. I'm scared of 3 rolls, 3 combinations here, or I'm scared of 3 combinations here. You're scared for a roll for half what you're normally scared about. Once it travels to a number and I'm across for a little bit, I'm scared of this number, which again has less ways to roll than a 7, right? Scared is the wrong word, but you're not wanting that number. You're not wanting to see the 4 or 10. You're not wanting to see a 9. And it's 2 rolls where what you're worried about is something that's more unlikely to happen than the 7. That's why that strategy works. It also works because as soon as you get your 1 hit, you plug the hole on the don't come, and you can't lose at that point. If you survive this roll and you survive this next roll, you're out. And most of the time, you're fighting against the number that has less chances to roll than the 7, and you're always good on the 7. It's an interesting way to play. I want to roll this out a little bit longer one day this week, or maybe next week I'll do a longer run of it. I think it's an interesting way to play. I really do. I don't know that I have enough bankroll to do it the right way, because when you lose, you have to ladder up and everything else, but you get a little bit, you can get deep in that bankroll quick. This probably needs about $2,000 at least to play at that level that I just showed you at. At $75 here, you probably need $2,500 to play it, which is not often for most people, or not the norm for most people. All right, I see a question from Gary. He says, how often have I caught the perfect storm? I've caught it. I catch it all the time. That happens a lot. And here's what you're talking. So for people who don't know, the Horseman is this. It's a 2-unit don't come, and it's 3 come bets that hopefully go to numbers. That's what you want, right? Here's where the Horseman is designed for, right? After your come out, right? On the come out, you're susceptible to the 7 to the 11, right? Sometimes you'll lose that bet, and it sucks. You go, your 3 come bets now become, instead of that, it goes to the don't. You might catch another 7 right away, and you lose all 5 units. That's one kryptonite. It's made for this. You got a point, shooter 7's out, and you win here and here. You're made for that. If that come bet travels and the second one goes up, right, and you lose, you would lose that one, but you'd win here and here, and you're still winning a unit. If 2 come bets travel and your third one's out there, and you get the 7 here, again, you lose those 2, but you win 2 here, and you're still up a unit. That's what it's designed for. Now, what can happen to you is this. You get here, you have 3 come bets set, shooter rolls a 4, you lose your don't, puck is off, come out 7, and you lose the whole 5, right? There's 2 ways to lose 5 units, right? Come out sequence sucks, or they hit the point and then come out 7. Both of those things happen, but what happens is you end up catching this 1, 2, 3 units more often than not. If you're laddered up and you're at 3 and 2, if you've laddered it, that win then becomes a 5-unit win, and it recovers all what you lost on the first one, right? So laddering can definitely give you a hand if you can afford it. If you can afford it. Now the Horseman, by the way, I won, I don't know how much money I won, $4,000, $5,000 with it one day, where I was here and I was here, right? And guy hits the 8. 8 comes down and gets paid. I grab the 4 and 10. The guy hits the 6. It comes down and gets paid. I grab the 6 and the 8, right? Out of the caps, of course, right? And I turned these place bets into huge money, right? I got out of the Horseman into something different, which is why you can use those low house edge plays to do stuff. But yeah, there's kryptonite there for sure. Whenever you're playing a hedge like that, you're going to have this case where both sides lose, right? And it's brutal, right? But yeah, in here, when you're here, like I'm like secretly rooting for a 7 here. Not rooting for it, but if a 7 comes, I'm happy. I'm okay. Give me the 7. It's fine, right? If you end up with 3 come bets, I'm also happy, right? Because remember, if any one of these come bets wins, right? Let's say that this one comes down and wins. I got 2 units back in the rack. The worst that can happen is I lose 3 now. The worst that can happen. If I win a second come bet, right? I have 4 of my 5 units back in my rack. I've got these units out here at play. I'm in really good shape right now. I'm more than likely going to win one of these 2 bets, come out ahead, right? It's a good system. Again, grind. What you find is that, go back over here again. What you find is that these grinders, right? The grinder strategies are the ones that can get you up a unit or 2 on the regular. Imagine if you will, going to a casino and grinding with a horseman or a pass line proggy or a little step ladder every single day. On every single shooter at the table, I dare you. I dare anybody to do this. Go play Newberry step ladder or go play the pass line progression on every single shooter at the table and see what happens. You play the pass line progression from the guy next to you all the way till it gets to you, I'll almost guarantee you that you'll be up by the time it comes to you. Whenever I do this, you get bored with it, but you'll trust me. It hits often enough that you get up by the time your dice are here. Like, wow, I would have lost on all those shooters. So anyway, there you go. From the Bahamas, Wizard Luke. How you doing, man? Good to see you. All right, let me check. Let me check on if there are any questions here. Let's go see if I missed anything, and then we'll get ourselves off to work for the day here. Let's see. Check for cues. Actually, I gotta take my own shower now. The dogs are clean. I gotta go over there and get it. Let's see. Is a 1 month test? No, it's not long enough, right? But we saw lots of results there. And like I said, I think Matt from Dice Data will probably be the better person to talk about this stuff, right? How many times during any session are all those 100,000 bots that he runs? What percentage of those bots were up at any point in time? I'd like to know that. When he runs this thing, I like to get that extra little line data captured when he gives you all the results at the end. I want to know what percentage of the bots were up at any point in time by even $1. How many of them showed a profit at any time? Because that would be interesting to see, right? The strategy may win whatever at the end of the bankroll 56% of the time, but what if 87% of the time it was up by a unit? And another one, it was 47% it was up by a unit. Wouldn't that be interesting to know? I think he could add that easily to his code and give that kind of data out when he runs the report. So anyway, there's that. Any other PC comments out there for me? I guess not. All right. Well, it's about that time. About time to get to work. So let's see. I'm looking at chats before I get out of here. Make sure I got Dr. It's never bored making money. It's never boring when you have money on the felt. That's a good point, right? It's all these ways, right? And I know I give odds work in a bunch of shit sometimes, right? But here's the thing. If you're there, again, the bridge is all this too, right? Get in the zone and have some fun. I think somebody says bridge is being in some kind of zone where all you know how, right? The thing with the bridge is it helps you also not hate your life when you're at the casino. Like, and I say this a lot, if you're playing with the wrong size bankroll for the strategy you're trying, like you're trying to ladder from a small bankroll, you're going to be upset and scared the whole time. And it's going to ruin your experience, right? If you're trying to hit a home run and you're playing the pass line parlay, it's not going to happen for you. And you're going to be pissed off when you don't win a lot of money, right? If you're not matched up with everything, your experience will be diminished big time. Big part of that is having fun. And like Oddsworking says, it's never boring when you're at a table with money on the felt. It's never boring because you always got something on the line, something to root for. And that's the lure of the game. That's the lure of this game versus other games. And I can't explain. I've been playing a lot of blackjack recently. You never get that feeling at a blackjack table. It's nice when you get a blackjack or you hit a split or something like that, but you never get the, that we get at our tables. You never get that at other games. It's just a unique game in that respect. So yeah, get in there for sure. Wizard Luke, 68 to 88 and regress to 44. It's good when it works. When that 66 goes down 3 times in a row, God help you. That's the problem. I've lost that 66 to 88 and then lost it many times in a row. And I'm like, man, you just can't come back from it. But once you get down $200, the fight back is just, it takes too long. It's a fun way to play. It's a great way to play from profit, but not from the pocket. In other words, all right. Yeah, bridge is the reality check. All right, guys, I got to get out of here and go to work. Love y'all. God bless. Thanks for being here again today, and thanks for letting me be a little bit late with the dog issue that I had this morning. But he's clean. He's wet, but he's clean. And so I got to run. Tomorrow, by the way, we're going to talk about where's my thing for tomorrow? Tomorrow, we're going to talk about betting and gold tiers tomorrow. So in other words, when you win, what happens in your rack? What happens to your next series of bets? And there's a couple of ways to look at this. I'm going to work rack management tomorrow with you pretty seriously with bankroll and betting and gold tiers. I think it's a difference maker. I think that if you flat bet forever, you're going to lose your ass, right? I think if you press forever, you're going to lose your ass. But there's a metric in there somewhere that um, lose a little when you lose, win a lot when you win, but how you change your bet sizing as you go, I think has a lot to say about what your potential is and what your bankroll is capable of. So, all right, there is a quick question here. Patrick system versus the horseman, otherwise come versus don't come. Um, yeah, so the Patrick system is pure darkness, right? It's a don't pass bet with odds to a don't come that goes to a number to get you 2 don't points. That's the Patrick system, right? Then when something comes down, when you hit that, then you can transition to the right side. Going from dark to light is very hard. Going from light to dark is very easy. So you'll find things like I can't believe this wins, or some of these horseman type strategies where they convert from a dark side play to a light side play. I think hedging and hybrid play is probably, I don't want to say the worst way you can play, but you're trying to thread the needle for too long. Those ways of playing have got to transition. You got to get out of hybrid into right side, or out of hybrid into dark side quick. Take your couple of wins, fund the other play with that, and get the hell out of it. Patrick was willing to grind forever, right? He let that don't come pass. He placed the number for the, and just grind it out 4, 5, 6. I've watched guys in Atlantic City make $2 a roll for 8 hours straight, just playing that way, getting a little don't come to work, hedging it off, just like we do in the retirement plan, all day making $2, $3 craps game, $6 don't come, betting the thing for $4, right? Like literally playing that way forever and winning pennies for a whole cigar. They burn an entire cigar and make $50, but that's an old mentality. So, all right, I'm out of here, guys. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Should be a fun one. And in the meantime, God bless y'all. Bye.